The shortcut Scan Launcher allows you to view all of the files that you have scanned recently. Here I'm going to be pushing a PLY and the margin XYZ file into Blender. This is a Medit scan and it's got a Medit margin over here. Note that the Medit margins are not 100% adapted to the model. As you can see, it actually intersects the model. However, we have a script to rectify this. The scan is rather messy. It has a lot of holes in it, and we covered this in the Zoom session on how to do this, and hence I'm going to just make another video on how to rectify such a thing, assuming you want to keep this geometry. First of all, we want to move this to the center of Blender. Select your model and go to the Align to Center, enter Target. So we're actually giving this a name. Then we're going to flip the scene, P shortcut key, Shift D is to duplicate, and we're going to duplicate these 4 points in a trapezoid pattern. Then click on Align. The margin is going to align with the model to the center of Blender. As you can see, we're going to flip it over 2 times on the Y-axis. Now we're going to be working on the mesh structure. We're going to fill the holes, assuming you want to keep these back teeth. Go into Edit Mode, tab Edit Mode, select a vertex and another one on the other side, click on F. Now we call this scaffolding technique, and this is to repair the mesh structure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and fill this hole, and we're going to fill that hole, and I'm going to make another filling perhaps from here over there. So when I left click, I click in the blue space. That will ensure that I'm actually selecting a vertex on the perimeter of this hole. And maybe we do one more over here. Now the hole filler will select up to 400 vertices, so if it's too big, it's not going to fill up. Go to the next menu where it says Patch and Sculpt, and fill the holes. In edit mode, we can see that these are very simplistic surfaces. I personally don't like this, so this is why we direct our users to click on Sculpt. Right click to make the radius of your sculpting to a little bit bigger, and just give it a nice mesh structure like that. Here we can see how it's actually filled up our holes very nicely. I'm going to go around the model and just see where else we need to sculpt and smooth it down a little bit. It's always essential to have a good geometry when we start. Now here we can clearly see there's a lot of mess going on, and this is why I'm going to smooth it down. If you want to make it a little bit smoother, decrease this, increase this value. If you want to make it coarser, decrease that value, as you can see. Now here we need to make very sure that we don't touch the tooth preparation. Now when we do this in the analog method, we would have just taken a plaster knife or a burr to get rid of all of these bits and pieces. So once you're done, we're going to then cut this arch. Shift right click to place our cursor and click the arch cutting tool. And I'm going to click on the extrude method. This gives me an advantage that I can simply left click. If you have a Connections 3D mouse, you can move and rotate this scene very easily, as you can see over here. If you don't, you have to use your mouse. When I get to the other side, I'm going to click Fuse, and then we're going to click on Trim. You should be left with two colored surfaces. Then select anywhere of the mesh you want to keep and click on Clean. If you get lost, look at the tooltips below. They will appear for 100 seconds. If you don't have two colors, go back and then reset your arch cutting tool. We cover this extensively in our videos. Next, select your model and click on Upper Base. I'm going to open up my outliner to show you where my margin is. So here we're going to open up the filter section, which looks like a little funnel. Click on this one and click on the screen icon. Your margin has been hidden away over here, as you can see. We can leave that hidden away for now because we want to make a die. Shift right click on the model. Go to the next section of making dies. Click on Make Die, Draw Die, and then use the G key and the E left click method to move your drawing tool around your die like that. Shift left click F to fuse it. Next, navigate the scene from above because it's going to extrude from your eyesight away into the computer, so it's perpendicular to your computer screen. Click on Make Cone Die or click. Then we're going to click on Elevate. This shifts the tool up a little bit so that it can cut through, and then Make Cone Die or Make Step Die. Select your spacer and then cut your die. Now we're going to expose your margin. The eye icon will unhide it. We essentially now have two margins. The one is from making the die. You can delete that one. We don't need that one. This one we need. I'm going to be hiding away my model H, and what we're going to do is then we're going to name this. We're going to go up to the aligning and we're going to click on Enter Target because it needs a name. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take this margin. If you don't see it, go to the outliner window and pick it there. We're going to click on Tool. Now this again extrudes from my eyesight away from me, perpendicular to the screen. We're going to scale the top of it. So click that a few times, or you can simply go S and then scale it as well. Scale the bottom, click a few times, or use the S key and move your mouse like that. Then click on Ditch. Now we have a few remnants, this one and this one. Go Tab, select the vertex which you want to keep, go to the top menu here and click on Clean, and that's going to clean the inverse away from it. And that sort of completes the video, and from here we can then make a crown in the crown module.